This episode, listen to never-before-heard levels of exasperation and disappointment. How many times can Mark forget the name of the bad guy robot? And Kiwi Fish and Chip Shop Donuts. That's right, it's all here and more on a truly episode of Written Off. Welcome to Written Off, a film/screenwriting podcast where we look at movies. That's right, not the big ones, not the famous ones, not the great ones, and certainly not the terrible ones, although this episode might be stretching it. No, we look at movies, and together with my co-host Mark Tasker, we brazenly suggest ways they maybe kinda sorta could have been better with a tweak here or there, a different character, a different scene. Hey, are we right? Are we wrong? You be the judge on another exciting, fun-filled, donut-covered episode of Written Off. Specifically, I'm referencing the Krispy Kreme original glazed donuts. Growing up in New Zealand, a donut normally means a fish and chip shop will have a donut that you can buy. You know, they throw it in the deep fryer and they coat it in this kind of cinnamon sugar. So that is a kiwi donut. Deep fried cinnamon sugar.
A fish and chip shop?
Yeah, that's where you get them from.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Me subsequently moving to Japan and encountering Krispy Kreme and encountering Mr. Donuts or Misudo, I couldn't believe it. Glaze? What the shit is this heavenly delight?
So hang on, Brad.
Yeah,
Brad.
go for it. Yeah, yes.
You're saying you go into a fish and chip shop in wherever. You're going to get fish and chips, and then you'll order your dessert at the same time, and it's a donut. So it looks like a donut that people would recognize. It's chucked in the deep fat fryer.
Yeah.
Does it have? Because in England, donuts like before 20 years ago would have jam in the middle. A donut in England doesn't have a glaze. It has like a sugary. It's sugar, and then in Germany it's basically the same. There's a Berliner, that famous line where JFK said, "Ich bin ein Berliner." A lot of people in Berlin laughed because Berliner is basically their shorthand for donut. So he was basically saying, "I'm a donut." And any German here will be going, "Oh yeah." Okay, so that's how you, and then, so it doesn't have a glaze. It just has like a crusty, like a deep
fried crust covered in cinnamon sugar.
Cinnamon sugar, okay. That's interesting.
And to further terrify you, every Saturday, that's my go-to every Saturday night. I have my fish and my chips, and then I have ordered at the same time my heart attack donut, which I have after eating fish and chips.
Up here, so I live in the north now. So for them, fish and chips, the chips always has gravy.
Yeah, not here, mate.
Yeah, no, and down south, no. And up here as well, mushy peas is pretty much prerequisite, which I can't stand. Yeah, gravy on the chips, mushy peas on the side, and then the fish is probably pretty much the same, I'd imagine.
Beginning as we always do, we like to talk about what's been going on with each other. Specifically, what have we seen? What video games have we been playing? What books have we been reading? Mark, what the fuck have you been devouring? Right, good stuff.
I don't think I've seen anything since we've last spoken.
Been one of those weeks?
I am going to watch the original Suspiria, hopefully today. I've never actually seen the original Suspiria. I saw the remake at the cinema, really quite enjoyed it, but that is one little hole, well, one of many little holes in my sort of cinema repertoire is giallo and those kinds of maximalist films. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching it and sort of, yeah, getting to grips with the new style. I remember we were talking a few weeks ago about like spaghetti westerns. I remember the first time I watched like a spaghetti western, and it has a very particular energy and atmosphere to it. A lot of people that I really like have always raved about Suspiria and those kinds of films. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I think it's been kind of a long week, so I'll be glad to sort of cleanse the palate with something a bit different. You and I have just talked about the struggles of getting through the film we're watching today and the lack of joy and the lack of panache. And, you know, I think giallo is almost entirely joy and panache. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Um, but yeah, no, it's been a fallow week of struggle to get through. And I tried to do some research about this film because I thought, right, come on, pull your weight, as we say. But it's just misery. And as you said, you've just said it. It doesn't. This film doesn't deserve it. So what am I doing, really? Anyway, and yourself?
Before we get into that, I think horror fans are divided, whether it's Giallo or not. James Wan's Malignant is a film I absolutely adore. It's gleefully batshit. It's everything that the film we're about to discuss is not. It's going for it. It's got ideas. It's got a middle finger extended. It's having a blast. I consider it giallo. It's got a lot of the hallmarks of that genre. Yeah, once a year, once every 2 years, I put that on, and I applaud James Wan for being like, you know what? I've just come off directing Fast and the Furious, whatever. I can make whatever I want. I'm gonna make Malignant. Ah,
Yeah,
love it.
yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. This will be something we've said before, something I'll probably say a million times. And I've already said it in this episode. Swing for it. Swing for the fences. Go for something. Be crazy. Be fun. Show us something we're never going to see in real life unless things go badly wrong. And play with perception. And yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, I'm a Malignant. It's not perfect, but it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we're trying to do?
Me on my end, I watched Kevin Costner's Wyatt Earp.
Right.
It's continuing my education of Western films,
Yeah.
which is a genre that, up until the last 6 months, fuck Westerns was my one of my many mottos. And I've subsequently changed my tack on that. Not 100%, but you know what, I'll give these Westerns a watch. And I had seen Tombstone maybe a month ago. So this was fascinating. It's like, I don't know how Hollywood does it. They've got, dueling comet movies, dueling volcano movies, dueling fucking Wyatt Earp movies. And unfortunately, this movie really lost out compared to
Yeah.
Kurt Russell's Tombstone. It's like, well, what if we cover the same events, but we go right back to when he was a kid, because that's what you're dying to know. What was he like as a kid? And we'll just make it 3 hours and 9 minutes long. Turns out that wasn't the right choice.
I was thinking I haven't seen it. I was thinking you were going to say, what a wonderful, pleasant surprise. No, it's crap, is it?
Now, it doesn't make me want to watch Costner's Horizon Part 1 or Part 2.
No, no, not really. It's not, I can't really see myself sitting down and watching, yeah, Wyatt Earp, but good for you. Good for you, Brad. Richard Harris in Unforgiven, one of my favorite performances. It is so vulnerable and weird and doesn't go where you think it's going to go the first time you see it. And
It really doesn't, does it? Yeah.
the way he's dealt with.
It's really, really interesting because I'm on this Gene Hackman bend of late.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And at the beginning of the 90s, he did Unforgiven, The Quick and the Dead,
yeah.
Wyatt Earp. Like, he did a whole bunch of Westerns. All three of his characters are quite different. Thinking of Unforgiven, duck, I says.
I just think the performances, there are four brilliant performances in that film. I'd go out on a limb and say Eastwood's the least interesting of the performances of the four male.
Agreed. I'd probably say he'd agree with it too.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's to do with the role itself. Yeah, Unforgiven is definitely a film where, it's one of those films like Shawshank or whatever. If you've watched the first 10 minutes, you're probably going to stick it out. It does have that lovely flow to it. Right. Go on then. Let's lance the boil of this atrocious film we're going to talk about today.
Well, it doesn't get better than that. Let's get into it. 2019's Terminator Dark Fate. Directed by Tim Miller, with a screenplay by David Goyer, Justin Rhodes, and Billy Ray, from a story by James Cameron, Charles H. Eglee, Josh Friedman of Sarah Connor Chronicles, David Goyer, and Justin Rhodes, which, by the way, Sarah Connor Chronicles, pretty good.
Yeah, well, I know that because Yeah, my wife's a big fan of Garbage, and Shirley Manson's in it, right?
Playing a T-1000, no less. Yes. And I'm a big fan of Lena Headey.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know it's sacrilege to say. I know I'm going to get stoned, but maybe a better performance of Sarah Connor.
No, I don't think that's sacrilege at all. But yeah. So too many cooks.
Yes. Terminator Dark Fate quietly ignores the events of T3 and Terminator Genesis, setting this film 25 years after the events of Terminator 2. Everything is going just fine for Dani Ramos until an advanced Terminator is sent back in time to 2020 with instructions to kill her, as her fate is connected to the future. Trying to thwart Sky Legion, the Resistance sends an augmented soldier named Grace to defend Danny, who is also joined by a thoroughly exasperated Sarah Connor and a T-800 that really likes patting a dog. Big budget hijinks begin.
Your intros are getting better and better. I really do. I look forward to them. And unfortunately, it's probably where the joy ends.
I couldn't take my eyes off Arnie patting this dog repeatedly, like just really enjoying some dog pats.
I mean, for a man as magnetic as he, we've talked about my feelings on Schwarzenegger before, and then I wouldn't say
Yes,
the
yes.
feelings are straightforward. They're quite complicated.
You do have a soft love for the man, I've noticed.
But he's famously charismatic.
Hmm.
Well, he was famously charismatic, but since his return to acting, I don't know what's happened. I don't know. Maybe it's a Bruce Willis thing. Maybe we're soon going to find out that, actually there's something quite wrong with him. And I don't want to be mean, and I hope that doesn't sound mean, but I just struggle to understand what's happened. Yeah, the petting of the dog stands out because there's nothing fucking else going on.
I like how softer he's gotten in his age in terms of his public.
Oh yeah, yeah. As a person, yeah, yeah. As a person,
He's admitted he was a real fucking asshole to women on the set, and he was an egomaniac. And it's good to know.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Unlike some other members of old Hollywood who are just like,
I think his growth as a person seems to be like diametrically opposed to his charisma deficit. Anyway, yeah, petting a dog.
where were you when you saw this film / what were you doing? And I can answer that. First time I saw it, I was at home watching Netflix. Second time, which was just now, I was at home watching Netflix. Yes, I did not see this in a cinema because no, I went back after watching the film and I watched the teaser trailer, which is set to Bjork's Hunter.
Oof.
Ooh, it's number one, mates, world at large. Can we please move on from this trailer trend of I'm going to take this pop song and slow it down or have it sound weirdly? It was really cool when it first started.
Yeah, which is 15 years ago.
I think Gears of War 2 did that. All around us are familiar faces. That song from Donnie Darko. They put that over their trailer, which made it seem really, really cool.
World. Yeah.
Yeah, Mad World. There we go. And I think ever since then, everyone's like, well, if we take a song that everyone knows, make it a bit creepy, it's gonna bring in all the money.
Yeah, but I'd still rather watch that on repeat for the entire runtime of this film than watch this film again. Because at least I quite like the original song. Right, the question is, where did I first watch it? So I was thinking that as I was watching it this time, I know for a fact it would have been the same as you. And I know for a fact I probably got 2/3 of the way through. And I thought I'd seen it all, but I definitely hadn't. I saw Genesis on a plane. I know that. Actually, not a terrible plane movie. Plane movies are an interesting thing, aren't they?
They really, really are. Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
movies I absolutely love, but I've watched on a plane and been like, nah.
Agreed.
Genesis was not a disastrous plane movie. There you go. That's my
You know who's a good plane movie director?
no.
Michael Bay.
Mike, I'll leave that one where it lies, Brad.
Like I remember seeing, was it Ninja Turtles 1 or 2 of his produced efforts? And there's this whole sequence where the turtles are fighting on a plane, and that plane goes down. Oh, the plane's going down, and it cuts, and then they're on the ground. I was like,
Oh, really?
Oh,
really?
Oh, I see. I see.
That's quite fun. I saw Fight Club on a plane a long time ago, and there's that like quite horrendous, and they didn't cut it.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, oh, they're all right then.
Do you think Mel Gibson's latest directorial effort, Flight Risk, will be available to watch on a plane?
Will it be available to watch at all?
A recent interview with Mel Gibson talking about this movie, promoting it, and he's like, "Oh, it's great. It's really quick. 80 minutes, you're in and out." I was like, "Okay, that's how he hypes his movie. In and out, 80 minutes, you're done."
A US marshal escorts a government witness to trial after he's accused of getting involved with a mob boss, only to discover the pilot who's transporting them is also a hitman. After they subdue him, they're forced to fly together after discovering that they're. No, yeah, I'm all right. Thanks.
Ah, well, you like my summaries. I thought it was a pretty good one on your own. Yeah, that was good.
That's just Wikipedia. It's got Topher Grace and Michelle Doc. Oh, Michelle Dockery. Oh. Michelle Dockery of Downton Abbey fame is I think my dad's my dad's favorite actor.
Really?
Loves her, absolutely loves her.
Off you go. Go tell him Mel Gibson's latest.
My dad doesn't really like films. I was thinking about this the other day. Just doesn't really like him. He'll watch Saving Private Ryan, of course. Shawshank, of course.
Wait. So you're telling me on the record there's unequivocally no way he would ever see Terminator dot dot Dark Fate.
I don't think he's ever seen Terminator nothing.
So when someone says, I'll be back, he's like, off
All
you
right,
go
then.
then.
Yeah, just go. All right. I don't know. You know, that's a really fascinating question. I'll try that out on him at some point. I mean, my sister and I had Terminator 2 on a video taped off the TV. We had that for a long time. You know, and like a lot of, probably maybe quite a lot of people would have seen that of our age because it was a little bit
Yes.
too old for us, wasn't it?
And this is something that you younger mates out there, you've got your movie or whatever it might be. But for Mark and myself, and I think for our generation, be it male or female, when this movie hit, there was a 1-2 punch of T2, and then right on the heels of it, maybe 6 months or a year later, was Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
These two movies hit. You knew you were seeing shit no one else had seen before because of the special effects. But also in the case of T2, you hadn't seen action go that bombastic. You hadn't seen a fucking helicopter fly under an overpass.
I wanted to ask you, like, I was thinking about action films. And if you ask the question, what makes a good action film? Because I mean, I was watching this, and as I told you earlier, there are people that say, yeah, the action sequences of this do work. Technically, they work, but obviously you just don't care. But how do you make an action film work? Because I would say you kind of have to be over the top stupid. What does make it? Because for me, it's like the cartoony, the humor element of it. We talked about the humor, and I think we will say how that is sorely missing. But what does actually make a good action film? Good bad guy, good. I can't put my finger on because technically, as I said, the action in this film is quite good, quite impressive. You can see where the money went. But from a writing point of view, what makes a good action film?
You asked me a really good question in the last podcast about writing horror. Is it actually about writing horror, or is it more just a visual format? Is it more about the vibes? And I've been thinking ever since. I actually have an addendum, a follow-up. What makes good horror is the reaction of the character to the horror. So if you've got a creepy crawly, an alien, a ghost, a serial killer, someone in the family doing something horrific, it is the way the lead character reacts to that terror that makes a good horror.
I would say so. Tony Collette in Hereditary immediately comes to mind.
Jesus. I would say Tony Collette in Hereditary, and also I'd say Naomi Scott in Smile 2 is right behind her in terms of action. Whether it's big budget or small budget, I believe an action movie must be propulsive.
Mm-hmm.
An action movie, more so than a horror, should be a roller coaster ride. Boom, they shoot you right out of the gate, or they just start going up, 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 and then you go down from there. But either way, once momentum has started, there is no stopping it until the end of the picture. So this film, like you were saying, is it the bad guy? Is it this or that? Yeah, there are films where you've got to have a good bad guy, or you've got to have great explosions, or you've got to have amazing fight scenes, or you've got to have hilarious characters reacting to the action, whichever one of those subgenres you've got. But I believe the most important cornerstone of any good action movie, it must be propulsive. I mean, Heat is...
Heat, yeah.
It is an action movie. I'd say it's a hell of a lot more than just an action movie. Is it propulsive? I would say in terms of action, no, but in terms of escalating character conflict and ratcheting up of tension, and then you get your explosive action.
It's just like I imagine if I'm a writer and I'm tasked with writing an action film, probably one of the most difficult things to do as a writer. I mean, we're talking about horror, and I agree with you. What you're saying is absolutely right. And I was thinking about T2. Now, T2, there is quite a big slump in the middle, isn't there? Where we don't see the T1000 for quite a long time when Sarah Connor's fannying about in the desert, right? And it relies upon that very cleverly written relationship between Arnie and Furlong. I think if you hadn't had that, it would definitely have been a oof. And when I was watching this, there's a couple of it tries to ape it. There's that conversation. There's a conversation about Arnie talks about his family and how he can't quite love them like humans can. And there are a couple of bits where it's like, right, we're going to get you here. We're going to get you reinvested, invested in these characters so that when we get the action going again and when you see their reaction, you feel their struggle. It tries to do the slow-mo trick. See, to me, and I agree with what you're saying, I would say T2, still now, the bit I think about is Hamilton's first reaction to when Arnie walks around that corner and
Mm.
slow-mo, and you hear the fucking skidding on the floor. That to me is still, that is the movie right there. That is the heart and soul of the movie. And there's a couple of bits in this where they try and do some slow-mo and they try and show us expressions. Obviously, it doesn't work, but I'm always trying to think when we're doing these podcasts, why doesn't it? Could it have been written in a different way? Could they somehow, these 75 writers, have come up with something? Obviously, the answer here is no, but how do you do that in this particular subgenre of action?
Because I'm an action nerd and because I like things to go punch punch. My favorite moment in T2, Robert Patrick and Arnie first lock up and they just kind of shudder like boom boom. I read that as the characters, the machine version of wait a minute, what the fuck.
Yeah, yeah. And they tried to do that in this one as well, don't they? The scenes where Arnie's fighting, what is it? T what?
Rev 9.
Rev 9, yeah, of course. So when there's a couple of bits where the Rev 9 is sort of reacting to what Arnie's doing. Sort of. It's kind of.
Kind of, but it barely even acknowledges him. It's just like, oh, what the fuck is this metal thing blocking my progress?
Is it bad editing? Is it like I struggle to put my finger on. They are trying to follow the same beats, but what is it that just makes it fall on its arse?
When I wrote the book Punchline, which is my action story, I had one rule when it came to the action, and that's after every action sequence, the characters must be affected.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If they got into a fight afterwards, they weren't like, wow, that was great. They're like, they are bleeding. The world around them has changed or they have changed after every single action sequence. That was my response to that famous Mike Tyson quote. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
I think that's a good answer. And that doesn't happen here, does it? They don't.
No. But anyway, before we get into all that stuff, what does work? And I'll tell you what, I've got one sentence. I like that it's mostly set outside America.
I hadn't even noticed. Is it? Is it set in Mexico?
Yeah, in the beginning at least, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
you're dealing with a Mexican family.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that bit of it. Yeah.
The Terminator is Mexican,
Yeah, yeah, I guess it is.
I think.
Okay. So you're not going to go for the obvious, which is killing off John Connor at the beginning.
That's the next one we'll talk about.
I, j-
What works in this movie for you, Mark?
like I said, I do think it tries to follow the beats of T2 to an extent, aside from the John Connor thing. I found the opening, having an augmented human, I didn't find that too awful at first. No, not really anything, Brad. I just think it fails so spectacularly that I'm finding it hard to give it credit. Yeah, I mean the setting, I suppose. Yeah.
It is great to have Sarah Connor back. It's great to have Linda Hamilton back. We'll talk later on about the issues that brings up. But after 6, this is the 6th one, not including the Netflix animated show, not including the Sarah Connor Chronicles, not including the video games and comic books. This is the 6th Terminator movie. And I suppose it's the same issue that the Alien series faced. Is it a series about Ripley or is it a series about the Xenomorph? And is this a series about the Terminator or is it a series about Sarah Connor? And I think, unfortunately, it became a series about Arnold Schwarzenegger, specifically his model of the Terminator. And I don't know if it was the right choice to make.
The fact that she appears in this, the concept of her appearing in this is a positive. I think she's very, very badly written, which isn't her fault. I think her performance is incredibly unlikable to the point where none of the characters like her. We definitely don't. And that is such a shame because in T2 in particular, I mean, that transition between the first Terminator and T2, I don't know if that's talked about enough. I never really quite bought it, if I'm honest. But anyway, let's say the T2 version of that character, the line she had to tread and the line that was written for her is really difficult because she is quite unlikable at times in that film, but you've always got the anchor. Here, they've ripped away the anchor in the first scene, and we're left with someone it's just unpleasant to be around. You know, Ripley goes through a lot, obviously. The very brave thing they did in the fourth Alien movie, taking away her humanity, but Sigourney Weaver pulls it off maybe because of her. I don't want to have a go at Linda Hamilton, really. Yeah, she is beloved. She is. And as you say, what probably would have and should have been the heart of this series, if that's what you're going to do with this series, and to write her like this, it's a travesty.
Well then, let's get into it. What was the first mistake? And I think we already know what it is. What is the first mistake this film made writing-wise? And of course, it's so easy because it happens in the first scene within 2 minutes of starting the movie. Of course, it is the death of John Connor.
It is jaw-dropping, though, isn't it? I don't think I knew it was going to happen.
Look, you and I have seen horror movies before. You've seen sequels specifically where they bring back the lead actor from the first movie and they kill him off. Yeah. This kind of tactic is nothing new. But this time around watching it, was I a dad when I saw it the first time? I was, but maybe because my kids are older now or something. But Connor gets shot and he's on the ground and then point blank again. It's that second shot, which is so brutal. Shotgunning a 13-year-old to death. The biggest issue here, it's not the killing of John, but it's the fact that the movie never ever lets Sarah have her grief.
No, it doesn't.
So as soon as he's shot, the fucking Terminator walks out of the scene and the camera pulls back. We have about 6 seconds with her holding her son's body, and then boom, that's gone. And then when she comes back later on, every time she brings up John's death, she is shunted. Even when she meets the same Terminator who fucking killed her son, she goes to ice it and she's held back. Constantly, the film refuses to let this character be a weapon of rage and grief. And it's just,
yeah, it's a good point.
Oh, why are you kneecapping that?
You make a really good point, and I just said how unlikable she is in that. And I think if we had been given that grieving, or even a short grieving sequence, or like the reaction to it a little bit more sustained in connection with other people, then her arc would have felt a lot more palatable. I mean, the decision to do it, some people have called it brave. I'm not sure I'd say brave, but if you're going to do it, really, really got to consider the consequences of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put her back with the literal Terminator that did it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just as unpalatable.
Think how much more tense the entire third act, because that's when Arnie comes into it, basically. Think how much more interesting the movie would have been if at every single chance Sarah is trying to fucking ice this Terminator.
Yeah, I know.
As soon as they turn away, as soon as they let their guard down, she is stabbing it or she's shooting it, because that's the Sarah from T2.
Obviously, there are a lot of writers involved in this, and it's very strange to think that no one felt that this was going to be a problem for us to continue to watch the rest of this film. Okay, let's think of positive things. Yeah, I think the sibling relationship is quite an interesting one. Actually, okay, I quite like the way the brother's written. I think it's quite interesting, and I think it starts exploring some relatively interesting and current topics about, robots and humans and all that kind of stuff. And then it just kills him.
To give Danny her own trauma.
But as you said, she doesn't react, does she?
That's another thing I really bumped up with, because it also happens seemingly from the get-go with her character. We never get a feeling for who Danny is. It's like the film never tries to. She's strong because she has to be, but we never discover where she gets her strength from. We never find out what she stands for. We never find out her flaws. We don't find out her favorite pizza, anything. She just is Danny. That's supposed to be enough for us. It's like the filmmakers looked at like that first Terminator. Kyle Reese, yeah, that's the guy. Let's build an entire movie and have every character basically be Kyle Reese.
And there are a couple of scenes where I did think both of the actors and the script was trying to somehow give us that bond. They try, they don't succeed. I think introducing Arnie later, that all goes out the window because, well, now Arnie can do it.
I love that it's 3 lead female characters. That's awesome. And even better, one of the leads is over 60 years old. They're not talking about men and relationships. They're just trying to survive. So on that note, awesome stuff. But God, we need something to believe in with these characters.
There's no breathing. There's no sequence where they feel like they're breathing and they're digesting what's happening, what's happened, what the potentially gonna happen. And
so here's what Cameron said in regards to the John Connor of it all. Let's just get that right off the table. Let's just pull the carpet out from underneath all of our assumptions of what a Terminator movie is going to be about. John's death serves as a springboard for the story to show Sarah's ultimate trauma, from which she only begins to recover right at the end of the new film.
Yeah.
Again, great idea if you've got a character suffering from trauma and they're working their way towards it, but we don't see that arc.
How many writers were there again? Like 8?
It's the ad break, and I'm here to talk about my book, Momo and Matsu, The Director's Cut. But I thought this time round, I'd do it in rhyme, just because why the fuck not?
Excuse me, this is the rhyme police. You are not allowed to rhyme on a podcast. Stop now.
Hey, you! I wrote a book, Momo and Matsu, The Director's Cut, and let me tell you, it's a tale that'll leave you shook!
Did you hear us? We said no rhyming. Please stop.
A heartwarming supernatural tale of kinship and horror, as satisfying as a corn chip, Your Honor!
Look, we're gonna have to arrest you. Not only are these rhymes terrible, they are misplaced.
Set in Tokyo, home of many a gizmo. Oh, Jesus, that was terrible.
Nobody cares about your rhymes, buddy, especially this audience. Go fuck yourself.
It's a book that's fun, moving, and above all, affordably cheap. And it even features a Jeep.
This is worse than that time I found my uncle in the kitchen jerking off. Jesus, that was bad. Oh.
Available in ebook, hardcover, and paperback on Amazon. What are you waiting for? Head on over there and buy Momo and Matsu, The Director's Cut, because in the words of Arnie, come on!
Alright, where's the rhyming handcuffs? Get 'em, boys.
All right, yeah, I do not want to get arrested. Okay, let's get back to the show. I'm sure everyone just can't wait to hear more talk about Terminator Dark Fate. So, why? For God's sake, Mark, why do you think they made the story choices they did?
They know that the formula is popular. They know that having a devastating monster chasing people, following those characters trying to work out how to get rid of this devastating monster is popular. They also know, and I think it is true, a lot of people are now becoming more and more scared of what AI is going to mean. So the theme and the topic resonates even still stronger than in T2, I would say. I mean, people watch T2 now and like, yeah.
Jurassic Park is the premium dinosaur franchise. When people think dinosaurs on film, Jurassic Park, it's the same with Terminator. When you think evil AI or evil robots, it's Terminator.
And so I can kind of see why it was resurrected.
David Ellison from Skydance Media, I mean, he paid a lot of money for the Terminator license. They made Genesis. That was going to be a trilogy. And no, that didn't work out. So he was talking with Tim Miller. Tim Miller's like, I got an idea. I want to try this. Let's start fresh, but I won't do it without James Cameron. James Cameron came on board. They planned for a new trilogy, and that didn't work out.
I mean, there's the monetary, yeah. It's like it needs to be made because they need to justify the investment they made in it. Yeah, I understand that.
There's a game I've been playing called Life is Strange, the most recent sequel called Double Exposure. Now, the sequel is specifically designed to echo the first game. And for the most part, it fails because of that, because it's so busy trying to echo that first game, it lacks enough of an identity to warrant it being around in the first place. And this film tells you that T2 happened, but it doesn't share with you anything new. And it makes our new characters dumber for it. The film knows you like T2, but it incorrectly assumes why. And it bases a whole new film from that point. Oh, well, you got to have your Arnie, and now we got to have Linda, and you got to have a bad guy Terminator. And it's like, not really.
Yeah, I think so. And I think you mentioned Salvation, and I think that was a better and braver swing than this. And I think, yeah, all right, it didn't financially work, but actually let's go and have a look at what that looks like in detail. And I know, I mean, I'm sure you felt the same in the T2, the brief moments in the first two where you got to see, Jesus, what is going on in the future? And we never really explore in these films that transitional moment, that like the zombie outbreak is taking place, right? And those bits are always the fun and interesting and exciting bits. And so
T3, you do see them activating Skynet, and you see like some of those tank robots taking over. But yeah, I know what you mean. You don't see endoskeletons kicking down doors and shooting people in their houses.
I'm surprised we don't do that. They're so in love with the basic, no, we got to go back and we're not going to see it, but we're going to get told it. Yeah, but I want to see how that would feel and how characters would react to that.
It's the question, right? I was having this question with some of my nerd friends. Well, what is Star Wars for you? What do you need in a Star Wars TV show or movie? And for me, it's I want lightsabers and I want spaceships. I'm pretty simple. And I suppose if you ask Terminator fans, is it that those fucking blue balls that appear? Is it robot versus robot? Is it this or that? You may have read James Cameron's most recent comments about rebooting Terminator. Have you heard what he said recently?
Remind me. I may well have done, yeah.
This is what James Cameron has told Empire magazine. This is the moment where you jettison everything that is specific to the last 40 years of Terminator, but you live by those principles. You get too inside it, and then you lose a whole new audience because the new audience care much less about the stuff that you thought they did. That's the danger, obviously, with Avatar or any kind of franchise. You've got basically powerless main characters, essentially fighting for their lives, who get no support from existing power structures and have to circumvent them, but somehow maintain a moral compass. And then you throw AI into the mix. These principles are sound principles for storytelling today, right? So I've got no doubt that subsequent Terminator films will not only be possible, but they'll kick ass. But this is the moment where you jettison all the specific iconography.
So why Arnie in it then?
Well, he also went on the record and said that he took the hit for it. He's like, yeah, I mean, I wanted Arnie and Tim Miller wanted Linda.
I don't know. I have reservations about him now, I'll be honest. It's a bit like Ridley Scott, someone else who I like a lot. And I hear interviews with him now. I'm like, yeah, but Ridley, you contradict yourself in the previous interview. No, you said something different 2 weeks ago. I'm starting to think they're maybe cracking a little bit. I'm sorry. Maybe that's blasphemy. I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Everything you say that's right, James, but you haven't done it and no one else has done it. And they keep spending 200 million or whatever on this, which doesn't know whether to stick or twist and is boring as fuck.
To follow on from that, does it add anything new to the genre and template? So I've got a question for you. It's a head scratcher for me. I don't understand it. I'm not really a James Bond fan. Right. Why is it that the Bond formula became so locked in and appreciated? How is it that the audience got so happy with the same rollout in every film, just kind of visually changed? So you've got the opening kind of action sequence. Then you've got the, well, here's the new gadgets sequence. You've got the here's the new theme song, but you've got here's the new femme fatale, here's the new.
Yeah.
It's the same movie again and again and again with these touchstones throughout. And somehow the Bond audience slash the audience at large were like, yep, that's what we want in a Bond film. Once Goldfinger brought those to the fore,
That's what we like. Keep doing that. Yeah.
and make sure all of those are in every fucking movie. Otherwise, it's not Bond. So all of this is the Terminator bits. You've got to have a robot fight. You've got to have the bad robot driving an obscenely large vehicle and just smashing through shit, chasing after our lead characters in a smaller vehicle. Because T2 was so effective, now every Terminator movie has to have those same Bond-like touchstones.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, and I think T2, I like the detective element of the T1000 in that. That's the most interesting thing about the way that robot thinks and works. And like, and there's that constant, like, yeah, he's going to know that. And I know that because I'd be doing it. Like, you could have that boiled down, a simplified version, a bit like, what the Predator franchise did with Prey. There are new tricks actually. And probably someone with power is insisting that those things are there. And as you said earlier, I think that's right. Not that many people fucking care. I don't really know why we can't have a new spin on it, which would probably cost a tenth of what this cost. And yet you'd get a lot of people intrigued. There are interesting ways to go, and it seems like the new Alien series is going to try and do something along those lines, try and go a different way using IP in a refreshing way. And again, people are fucking into AI. Everyone's talking about it at work the other day. People are genuinely interested in where it's going to go. And there's so many different stories you can tell you don't need to time travel anymore because we're here. Yeah, why they seem to be, I don't know. Again, it's like we often say, maybe there's something in the background that we don't know about that's forcing them into these repeated tropes. I don't know.
Can I also say something really nerdy, especially from a screenplay point of view? Your first movie is about a robot wearing human skin, right? So basically the metal endoskeleton. You've got that fantastic reveal at the end of the movie where it steps out of the fire. T2, James Cameron is a very smart individual. Liquid metal, I can see the leap in technology. Like, that makes sense. Wait a minute. The robots don't work, but liquid metal, that is a tech jump. Like, yep, that I can definitely see that. The problem is, after liquid metal, where the fuck do you go? So T2 3D Battle in Time, which of course was a lovely theme park joke, everything. That had the T1 million, a giant liquid metal monster. T3 had the TX. It had a metal endoskeleton. It could fuse to make weapons. It could make a gun arm and shit like that. Genesis? What the fuck was the deal with the robot in that one? That was like
It had like little microbots that could like move it around and stuff, and it could go into stuff.
Right. And this one here, Dark Fate, the whole shtick is, well, no, it's both. It's kind of liquid metal, but it's over an endoskeleton. And it's like, that seems regressive. Why would you take a step back? I guarantee you, if James Cameron sat down and worked out the tech, if the next bad robot was this holy shit fucking leap in logic that makes sense, because that hook for T2 is liquid metal. That is awesome. If the next one has another equally amazing hook, you could build an entire movie around that and it would be awesome.
The thing that makes it tied is their refusal to learn from the things that they've done well.
The final section, what scenes would have made this movie better? What scenes or changes or tweaks?
I liked what you said earlier about Hamilton. If she's going to be in it, then let's see a bit of that grief, which would then inform future decisions. And if you're going to have her in it, I think go for it. Take Arnie out of it. You don't want so much time travel. That's fine. Let's make it a more of a current thing. And let's have maybe the T, whatever you want to call it, is a new thing that's being developed right now, straight off the fucking production line. And you are a current day threat to the rise of AI. And they're trying out this thing to get rid of you because they've got a sequencer that's predicted that you're going to cause trouble. So we'll stop you right now. You don't even have to have time travel, basically. and it would be more current. Maybe the technology is not as advanced, but it feels present. Genesis did try and talk about how, there's that sequence right at the very end where Matt Smith is everywhere, right? He's in the cameras and he's in the. There you go. Well, that's interesting. And that feels like something that is definitely possible. Find my phone on the phone. Have something like that if you want to. They don't even really bother with time travel, so why do we need it at all? We can still generate interesting horror-y, action-y style film rather than whatever this thinks it is.
I would like to see a reversal movie. I would like to see a movie where the Terminator is being hunted by humans. You could have your big bombastic car chase where the humans are driving dump trucks and shit. And I would actually have it. I don't know if it fits the logic, but let's say it's the first robot Skynet's made. And for plot reasons, all of Skynet is in this robot body. The army's after it. People on the street are after it because they're fucking terrified of AI. And have it at the end, we all get nuked because how we've fucking treated this poor robot. If we'd just been nice to this robot over the course of this movie, instead of chasing it down and showing it the worst aspects of humanity, we would have been fine. But the twist is at the end, it only launches nukes because it's seen nothing but how shitty humanity is.
That would be a nice self-contained thing, wouldn't it? That wouldn't be necessarily leading onto a trilogy, but why do we have to keep trying to fucking do that anyway? I think that would be a really interesting self-contained thing that, again, people would connect with, because it does ask questions that people are actually asking right now, all the time. That's what I mean. There are legs still somehow to these ideas on a much, much, much smaller budget, which would make it more likely that other things would follow. And I don't understand why and how they think a $200 million movie is going to ever fucking work.
Just to wrap things up, some quotes, some dialogue that I noted throughout the movie. Funerals don't help them, and goodbyes don't help you.
Oh. Who says that?
You put 100 cops between you and a Terminator, you get 100 dead cops. I don't have a photo of him, which was a really nice scene with Sarah, but then they cut away as soon as possible. It's like she says that line, and they're like, oh! To give you purpose, Sarah, I thought it would bring meaning to your son's death. Ouch. Really? Some good stuff in there.
Some nuggets in the dirt. Thank you, Brad.
Also, this movie is the movie that gave you a Humvee falling off a dam, sliding down the dam inside the water with no cracked windows.
The fact that we haven't even talked about, well, we've only very briefly alluded to the RV. What's it called? The R6? What's the Terminator called in this?
Rev 9.
I was wondering, like, if that was the Terminator in Terminator, the T-1000 Terminator 2, played by that wonderful actor at that time in his life, would we have cared more about this film? I'd say yeah, probably. But this poor guy, oh dear. It's anonymous is the word.
Yep. Anyway.
You really do look like, what you look like at the moment is at the end of a children's party when all the balloons that were up and happy at the beginning have now shriveled up and landed on the floor, and they're just sort of being like kicked around a little bit. That's what you look like as you're trying to work out how to end this monstrosity.
That's it for this episode of Written Off. Thank you very much, mates, for joining us. We always love having you with us, and we'll catch you again for the next one, because God knows, just to peel back the curtain a bit for you, mates. Mark and I were talking before we hit record. We need a break, not from the podcast, but we need a break in terms of, we've been dealing with a lot of sequels recently, or a lot of movies that, our mandate is to look at movies, right? But I would argue that Dark Fate and Mirrors, while they're also kind of pulling down more towards the
yeah, definitely.
Next episode is going to be a nice refresh for all of us. We're covering a movie that I haven't seen since it was out in cinemas. What about you, Mark? Have you seen it?
No, definitely not.
Great. We're going to watch the Tommy Lee Jones vehicle, Volcano.
His vehicle. I like that. You don't get to hear that often enough. We are, and we'll be full of beans, and you'll notice it, and you'll be like, wow, it's almost like different people.
I'm looking forward to this. I think Alan Silvestri, again, it's a bit of a running theme for us. I think he really pulls his weight with this movie, cracking Silvestri's score. And I think there's a scene where doesn't Tommy Lee Jones outrun a falling building?
See? Already more excited. Yeah.
Some dude jumps off a train into lava and just slowly burns in front of the
That'd be great.
cast. I'm not too sure. Either way, good times are going to be had.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I am not complimenting the writing because that would be stupid. But everyone else, or everything, or a lot of the other parts of this film, either for good or for bad, lift it up to be more entertaining than what it. God, it must have been awful. Can you imagine reading it?
Can you imagine reading it? Wait, how much are they paying me? I'm doing it! Until then, we'll see you then, mates.
Just the look on your face. You look absolutely defeated, which I think is fair.
Written Off is hosted by me, Bradley Freeman, and Mark Tasker. It's produced by the both of us, and it's edited by me. Our theme music is by Skane, and our artwork is by Sketchfro. This has been a Pugnacious Podcast production.